right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Rocco. Rocco is a wonderful part of our team. He is one of our client services managers, which means that he oversees projects for clients. He makes sure that everything gets done on time, on budget. He's really the face of the company when we're working with our clients across the country. And he has a really cool project that he wants to talk about today, one that we did over the summer, and one of my favorite projects as well. So, Rocco, I'm going to let you take it away and introduce
Yeah,
what the project was and what you loved about it.
sure. Yeah, it was thank you for having me. This is really cool. It was actually my first project. I started and 2 days later we met with the Mission College Mechatronics program and created a marketing plan and recommendations for them. It was really a cool process as it was my first, setting them up with some goals, and we did a SWOT analysis for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Messaging. We even mocked out some social and bulletin ad campaigns and social or in display. And what was really cool about when we met with them that was a different thing for me. Like I've never done a media buy or anything like that or presented something like this to a client, but I had been in meetings with departments for marketing, and the industry leaders that were a part of this meeting really were helpful in kind of driving a few things and giving the mechatronics program some direction. And for those that don't know, I kind of cheated and wanted to give an accurate description of what mechatronics is. And I guess the most simplest thing that I could find was it's a branch of engineering, and there's a lot of different disciplines that are in it. The big ones, namely mechanical, electrical, computer, and robotics. And so as I was learning what mechatronics was, it was interesting to me to see how many different facets of everyday life that this type of technology touches on. And then I think what was the coolest part of it is, even though we didn't get to work with them beyond the marketing plan, the results that they got as a result of our marketing plan and then putting a few things in process and getting rolling on those really was cool to see. They had some increased enrollment and increased enrollment on classes that had only gone for the second time in the existence of the program. So that was really cool. It was really cool to be a part of and then see that maturization of their campaign and the results of it.
Yeah, I think that your experience with this program touches on a couple really cool things about marketing. Like, first of all, it's your second day with a new company, and it's like, guess what? You get to you get to work on a big plan. Like, let's go, Rocco. But that's the way it is in marketing. It's just like, let's go, 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 go. It's fast moving. And it also reflects on how a lot of the things we do, we don't have expertise in the subject. Like, our
Mhm.
expertise comes from putting together great messaging and marketing tactics. Like,
Right.
you and I didn't know what mechatronics was. Like, we're like, what is this?
No.
And what we discovered in the process is that potential students didn't know what mechatronics
Hmm.
meant.
Hmm.
So some of the recommendations we had for the college really centered around educating people in the marketing as to what skills you need to bring to the table to be successful in this career. And
Right.
those are really interesting conversations that we had.
Yeah, and I think that's what led to increased enrollment. I think students knowing exactly what it was, and they may have heard that and were like, "Oh, I don't have an engineering background, and I don't have this prerequisite." But there are so many different ways to get involved in that program, and when we met with our clients and they were giving us this information about different ways to get involved, and you don't. I think a lot of times what happens is again, this education part is students think they have to join it as a part of a degree program, and explaining what mechatronics was, showing them that you could take a class or two to just kind of dip your feet in the water and see if it's something that you think you're going to like. I think all of that went a long way for that for them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another interesting thing about this project was, we did our first, we marketing is a lot of listening. Like at the end of the day, like you have to ask a lot of questions. Like I think
Hmm.
sometimes clients think you're going to come to the table and like some great idea is just going to like spring out of your head. But we had to ask a ton of questions, and we asked the college to get industry leaders to come to our meeting. And
Hmm.
the industry leaders were phenomenal because they were
Yeah.
telling us like, hey, we need people to work on the front line, and these
Hmm.
are the type of skills that we love. We love people who like to like tinker with things. Like if you're a mechanic, this
Right.
might be a great career for you. And who would have thought
Hmm.
like a mechanic would be interested in an engineering type of degree? But
Hmm.
it's because it's hands-on and tactical and fixing things and building things. So we were like, well, what other skills do people like? And we learned that veterans are really like great candidates for the mechatronics program because of their experience in the military. And
Right.
so our ad campaign was like, if you're a veteran, this is the program for you. If you like to fix cars, take a look at this program. If you like
Hmm.
robotics, if you like building things, if you like solving problems. So it really was about like, what is it in a person that would
Hmm.
make them successful in this career? Um, that helped us educate, potential
Yes.
students about the program. So it was really
Yeah.
a fun project to work on.
It was, and I think a part of that communication in getting that out to the students and the industry leaders, letting us know, and then ultimately the program that, you know, these are like you just said, the aforementioned skills. But in addition to that, it's something that once you get in the door with us, you can continue to build from there. You can take classes. We have reimbursement programs, things of that nature, and that's a big deal for a lot of students, specifically students that are going to get into these types of industries, because more than likely they're doing something related to this field while they're going to school. So they want to know that they can move up, and that as they move up it'll be taken care of, at least a small part.
Okay, I'm gonna cough now, Rocco. Luckily, we have an editor. Oh, sorry, my getting over a cold and the talking
Oh,
too much
works.
triggers like makes my throat itchy.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm back for our editor. You can edit all that coughing out. Well, really cool project. And just to wrap up, we had sent the marketing director at the college, I believe you had emailed him and you had asked him a couple months later, hey, how's the project? How's the enrollment going?
Hmm.
What was the response?
The response was great. It was, they had, I believe it was a total of 4 classes that they had communicated to us that had seen numbers climb in enrollment, which is always good. And like I said earlier, one or definitely one, but it could have been 2 of those classes were only being offered for the second time. And so when you can see those numbers climb in a class that's only, being offered to students for the second time, I mean, that's pretty impressive. That's really cool.
Really cool. And this is a college in the Silicon Valley. So the
Hmm.
the employment opportunities were endless. All right, so
Absolutely.
it was your second day and now you've been with us for about a year. Can
Coming
I
up,
can I
coming
s-
up.
can I stick you on another surprise marketing plan project?
I think it's something we could talk about.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Rocco. And if anyone's interested in seeing the work that we did for the Mechatronics program, just shoot Rocco an email or reach out to me, and we'd happily show you some of the sample ads and some of the tactics we put together for the college. All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet Michael, he is GradComm's creative director. So he is the creative catalyst behind our campaigns and our creative work. And his job is to help us uncover what makes colleges special, what makes programs unique, and to really bring to life the marketing that we do for our clients. So, Michael, I'm excited to have you, and I'm really excited about the project that you're going to be sharing with us today. I played a small role in this project myself, and it was so much fun, and I loved every minute of it. And I think our listeners are going to really enjoy hearing about it. So take it away. Tell us about what it
Yeah, all
was.
right. I want to talk about Saracoso's tagline, "Take flight." Yeah, and the truth is, like, this is really a testament to like our team and how everybody worked together. So I'm excited to talk about it. Take flight is the tagline we came up with, and in my personal humble opinion, it's pretty much the perfect tagline. It has a built-in call to action, gives students agency, that idea of taking or seizing the day. It's also aspirational, and it sets our sights on the horizon, kind of both literally and figuratively. Chris D, our art director, came up with a killer hand-drawn word mark for it. And really, what excites me is that in the end, it's proof that our process works. And people tend to think that creativity is magic, that you just kind of pull ideas out of the air and you hope that something sticks, right? But that isn't really how you create something. Something my dad used to say to me, my dad was a Methodist minister, which you may not think as a performance artist, but ministry is performance in many ways. And so what he always used to say to me is that great spontaneity requires great preparation. And that always seemed like a total contradiction, right? But it's absolutely true. And the same is true for creativity. So here's what happened. I give the pitch for the tagline, and pitching, no matter how many times you do it, is completely nerve-wracking. I'm not sure. I've done countless pitches of these, but it's always a little bit scary, right? No matter how much I believe in the idea that I'm bringing in. And to be frank, I've pitched taglines, and Cheryl and I have pitched taglines before so many times, and I've never had anyone reject a tagline that we brought to them. But there's always that sense of fear, right? There's always like one VP who's kind of already had a bad day and they got like an unhappy face on, and you're just trying to like, oh my gosh, you're sweating and you're giving it. So I gave the pitch, and the first comment I got was, "You pretty much nailed it." And of course, like, the angels are singing in my head. I hear hallelujahs, like all the pressure goes away. But what he goes on to do is to tell a story that I found really kind of profound, and it made me believe that we were doing this the right way. And he tells a story about how they had gone to Irvine Valley College for, I think it was a guided pathways type retreat, and there had been a brand exercise. And after much discussion about their identity and their mission and what they stood for, that they came up with ideas around soaring and launching careers and reaching for the sky. And of course, that's exactly what Take Flight says, only I think Take Flight says it a little bit better. But for us, it was this great kind of affirmation that we had done this right.
Awesome. Well, and I remember that too, because you and I, after after the presentation, were like, "Wow, we just came up with their own tagline, except for ours was like a lot better."
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
But I think I want to ask you a little bit about the process. But
Yeah.
before I do, just for those listeners who might be out of California, Saracoso is in this rural area of California that has a lot of really cool attributes. So it has one of our biggest ski resorts, Mammoth Mountain, that's really famous for people like launching themselves. It's got a huge half pipe. Olympic training goes on there. They have an Air Force base. They have a NASA area. I think they actually have like some program with NASA or something with NASA that they
Yeah,
do.
they have a campus on Edwards Air Force Base,
Yes,
I believe,
on the
or
Air
an
Force
outreach
base.
center or something. Yeah.
So this whole idea of flight isn't just a metaphor for like accelerating your own career or your own goals or reaching for the stars, but it's actually like descriptive of what you can do like in the area. And then
Yeah,
there's like dune bugging
literally.
and yeah,
Yeah,
literally
that
like
was Kara's Cheryl's like exciting ideas that we had been mulling around the the um the Take Flight tagline, and Cheryl was like, I got this image of a snowboarder jumping off a mountain with Take Flight underneath it. And I think we all kind of had that moment, that goosebumpy moment. You're like, I get it. I get it. I see it. It gives them that aspirational kind of, feel, right?
and we wouldn't have ever known all these things about this college without following a process. And
Yes.
so that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about is, what is the importance of having a brand process, and what do you think works so well about following it?
Yeah, I think like it goes back to this idea that creativity isn't magic and that you need to lay a foundation for real creativity, because you need to focus that. It's easy to just come up with ideas and hope something sticks, which is why, every college in the country uses start here, go anywhere, right? It works, it makes sense, we get it. But coming up with something that is, that works in that way, but is specific to the college is the real art of what we do. And for this particular client, we used several focus groups as well as tons of individual interviews. And these were all opportunities to ask questions about, they're basic questions. It's like, what are the first three words that come to your mind when I say Saracoso Community College? And kind of brainstorming and involving insiders and internal stakeholders in that brainstorming process was really revelatory. And it's a critical part because you need that baseline. We need something to control, like focus through creativity, right? So what I love is this, we came to the same like conclusions about identity, that we got to know them, which means a couple things. One, it reflects on us. I think we listened, which is hard to do. Sometimes it's, as a creative, it's easy to come and say, hey, I have the right answer. I know what's going to work. But there's a real trick to, and a talent, I think, in the importance of just listening and saying, okay, I'm starting to get it. And that's where we came up, like everything that you mentioned, right? There's a campus on Edwards Air Force Base. They're located in kind of a regional aerospace hotspot. You got Bishop, which is known across California for its super killer dunes and off-roading. And hey, those people get air too, and you go to Mammoth Mountain and you get air there. It's all about big air and open spaces. And suddenly you have a sense of identity that isn't just start here, go anywhere generic. It starts to feel like, oh, wow, Saracoso is a really special place. And that's true for every community college in the country. It's just kind of, it's really easy. Community colleges all kind of feel the same. And there's kind of this mentality that we're all the same. But once you start getting to know college, you start to get to know those beautiful little intricacies that makes things unique and help you stand out. And that really, like for us, is the process helps you suss that out. And then our expertise comes in and we give it to the creative heads and they start spinning and throwing ideas. And that's when you start like having fun with what's going to stick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you see the
that's it.
tagline. Actually, if you go to our website, we have this up on our website, right? We have
I think it's like
a
one of our
case
case
study.
studies. Yeah.
Yeah. So I encourage people to go and see the tagline, the hand-drawn tagline, because it's
Oh,
like
it's
nothing
killer.
you've ever seen. It's
It's
really
cool.
cool.
It's super
Yeah.
simple, but it's super like it just does it, right? It does
It
it right.
works. And if you see that, you're like, duh, of course. And you don't
Right.
realize that that took like 4 months and focus groups and a survey and
That's
meetings
right.
and
That's what I
discussion
love
and
about, the best taglines are kind of like, it's like I don't know, it's a funny analogy. It's like a good fitting pair of jeans. Like you put them on, you don't have to ask for anybody's opinion about whether or not they fit. When it doesn't fit, you're like, hey, do I look good in these? Do I look good? But when they fit, you're like, hey, this really works. And that was the response we got from, all of their people was like, oh, yeah, that fits.
that
It makes
fits.
sense.
Well, it was a great project, a lot of fun. They're still a client. We're actually in the process of now booking
Oh yeah.
ads using the tagline, which is really cool to see how those do and how they
Yeah.
perform. Well, if anybody wants to talk to Michael about the process, reach out to him. We are doing a couple other taglines uh, that have had equal success, really creative things going on. And take a look at the Saracoso case study on our website. You can read a little bit about how we did it, and then you could see the artwork and the tagline that we came up with at the end.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, thank you, Michael. Get back to work.
All right, back to work. Have a great day.
You too. All right, Jamie. Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast. And for those of you who haven't met Jamie, she is our director of client services. So Jamie is in charge of our wonderful client services team who oversees all client work. So they're the ones that make sure everything gets done. They have extremely high expectations. They make sure that our creative team is on task. They work with our clients. They represent the company. So Jamie's got a really important job here at GradComm. And she also, besides supervising our client service managers, has her own clients that she works with. And so today she's going to share with us one project she did this last year that turned out really well. I don't know if it's your favorite project. You'll have to tell us that, but it's definitely a project that's had a lot of impact. So with that, I'll let you take it away.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. It's hard to say if I have a favorite project, but this project is a little bit unique and different from some of the other work that we do. And so that's the reason that I chose this one to talk about. The client that I've been working with this last year is Tri-City Adult Education Consortium, and they're a group of 4 schools that come together to make this consortium of facilities that are providing adult education services in their region. So they're adult schools primarily. They have one community college within the consortium. But what we found when we started working with this client is that their logo and their brand was very old and outdated and maybe even made out of clip art. And so when we started the project with them, we embarked on a brand project to create not just a logo, but a brand with an identity and a tagline, so that when we started to make their website and future marketing initiatives for them, they had an identity that they could be proud of.
Excellent. And I think for those people who are outside of California, and probably some people in California too, these adult education consortiums have been formed around the state to unify what community colleges and K-12s are doing in non-credit education. So the consortiums focus on adults or high school diploma, GED, high set preparation, English as a second language, some career and technical education. So we've been approached by a number of consortiums that want to market. They're like, hey, we want to market. We want people to take our programs. And then we come in and we look at like what they have. And like Jamie said, it's like clip art logo or no website. I don't think Tri-City had anything set up, right? Nothing. So we were able to do something unique and that start really kind of at the very beginning, which we don't get to do very often.
Correct. We often come in and they have brand guidelines and they have colors and they have, an idea of what they want to do. So it's really fun with this group to take their mission and values and what was important to them as a group, as a consortium, and start to build a logo and a brand and a tagline that supported everything that was important to them. When we built the logo specifically, we were able to pick colors, which was something that was really fun. And we were able to choose colors that you don't typically see within colleges and schools. So they're bright, they're energetic colors. We were able to attach those colors to meanings so that it's not just, here's our color and we don't know why. We picked this really bright purple, rich purple color, and it represents wisdom and passion and future. We picked this vibrant green to represent growth and life and prosperity. And then another vibrant orange for creativity, energy, and vitality. So you can start to see how their identity and their brand has meaning behind it. It's not just, you know, just colors that were chosen out of nowhere.
I remember when we talked about the brand presentation. I didn't get to go to that, so you had done the presentation yourself. And I remember you saying that they asked you, why did you pick these colors? And you were able to explain the representation and the meaning behind each color. And I also think that you had taken some of those colors directly from each institution as well, right, to line those up. And that really resonated with the group. And I think that shows how important storytelling is in design. You have to have a rationale and a meaning behind what you're putting together.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when organizations are using a brand or a logo, especially if they don't like it, which is not the case with this one. We wouldn't want to be making something like that, but they often say we need a new one because the other one has no meaning. The logo that they're not happy with doesn't have any feeling behind it. And so we built a logo with purpose. We developed a tagline that took their mission of, which is just a long sentence about what they are going to focus on, and made it something that was really tangible and created a connection between the organizations and their community. So their tagline complements their brand and their logo, and really starts to come together really nicely when we move on to other pieces of this project, which was making a website for them, and then ultimately helping them launch a marketing campaign to support enrollment in their institutions.
Right. And I loved the website project too, because we have all these different institutions and we want to market together. So we want to tell people this is in a pocket of Los Angeles, like, hey, if you want to learn English, you have all these options. There's all these options. So instead of being like, we're close to your house and you can learn English here, it's like, if you have all these different options to choose from, if you live in the Los Angeles area, and here's how we're going to support you. And when we were putting together and mapping out all these programs they have in common, I remember some of them were like, we didn't know you had that program, or we didn't know you were doing that over at your school. So it's such a great opportunity just to educate each other on what they're doing and how they can support each other's enrollment.
Yeah, I think when they realized, oh, we all have these programs, we can come together and take a united stand on this, instead of you market yours in a silo and you market yours in a silo, or you promote enrollment of yours and you don't talk to anybody. We're talking about a region that's only, a few miles big, although it's very densely populated. So there are a lot of options for individuals in these communities to get the enrichment or the education or the career prep or whatever it is that they need to thrive and grow.
Now, I think we're still working on the website, right? It's not done yet.
Yeah, the website's close. It's almost ready for launch. We're just buttoning up a few pieces, so debuting soon. And from that, we'll be able to start talking to people in the community about what these schools are offering, which is really exciting.
And for those who are following higher education trends, not-for-credit programs and the short-term career education certificates that don't cost any money and are quick are super popular right now. So where other credit programs are seeing declines in enrollment, these are the programs that people in the community are looking for. So it's a really exciting time to launch this project, because I think we're going to see really great results from it.
I think so too.
Yeah. So any tips as we wrap up our conversation for anybody else who's maybe starting from ground zero? Any tips that you'd like to give them?
Oh, let us help you. I think we talked about this before when we've met. You look at a project like this and you think we'll never be able to implement anything like this. We're too busy. We have too many priorities. And that's what an agency partner is all about, right? Somebody who can help you look at everything, take a couple steps back, look at everything, look at who your audiences are, look at what's important to you, look at your mission, your values, your goals, your budget, and help, it's an extension of resources that, shouldn't be ignoring.
Excellent. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Jamie. And if anybody wants to talk to Jamie, you can reach her at jamie@gradcomm.com. And I'm sure you'd be happy to talk more about the project and a lot of the other great work that you're doing.
Yeah, let's chat. There's no shortage of variety in the projects we do. So if there's a problem, we probably can find a solution for you.
Okay, so here I am joined with Mr. Chris Walker, who is our Chief Operating Officer. And Chris's job here at GradComm is to keep this ship afloat. So he oversees all of our operations. He's pretty much everybody's boss except for mine. I don't have a boss.
Not yet.
Not yet. But he does amazing work. He does our our finances, our oversight, our management, but really Chris's expertise lies in digital strategy, and that's been his background for almost his entire professional career, is running massive digital campaigns for our clients, and then before us for big pharmaceutical companies and all sorts of different brands. So Chris does work with clients, and he has a huge project that I am taking him away from right now to do this podcast, but I'm really excited to have him talk a little bit about the podcast, or talk about the project, and to share with you, the listener, some of the great takeaways that you might be able to apply to your own marketing campaigns. So with that, Chris, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us about your project, who the college is, and what you're in the middle of doing right now.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun. So the project that I was going to talk about, maybe it's a bit of recency bias because we've been kind of thick in the weeds of it recently. But I think that the Saddleback project, as many of you may or may not know, Saddleback is a very good size, large community college here in Southern California. They're up in Costa Mesa, Irvine area. And they're a great client for us. We really love working with them. They let us do a lot. And this spring, we put together a pretty big project for them that brought together multiple funding sources. So they had grant funds and general funds and a lot of different audiences that they want to reach. And what I love about this project is really two things. Number one, it really let us spread our wings as far as the amount of tactics that we're able to employ. So we're really using all of the major networks for this particular spring campaign. It's an enrollment campaign. We're doing some applied but not enrolled and marketing to stop out students. We're marketing to the adult education community. We're marketing to Spanish speakers in the area. And we're also marketing career education. So we've essentially got 5 different campaigns running at the same time. And each one of them has a lot of tactics. It's pay-per-click, it's Facebook, Instagram, it's Snapchat, it's YouTube, it's Spotify, it's display, geofencing, OTT, TikTok, retargeting, really the kitchen sink in both English and Spanish. So that to me is really fun when we get to put together a portfolio that is really comprehensive and just really attacks our demographics, like where they're at. Like we're really targeting them and getting that message out there for spring enrollment. So that's really kind of the first reason why I chose this one. And the second one is because there is so much campaign surface area, there's a lot that had to be done to get the creative together. And so what was really fun, and it was a little bit of a stress test, honestly, for us to produce this much in such a short amount of time. But this project, I think pretty much everybody in the company had some part in, which I thought was really cool. So like you and Jamie kind of worked on the planning, and then we had, Jake going to do video work and our designer working with Jake to get the videos to where they were, and the students were amazing at the filming. The videos came out really good. All of the banners across all of the different tactics, looking at various landing pages, so it just there was so much that happened, from videos to banners to landing pages. It just really was, I think, a testament to our team's capability to produce a lot of really great work in a pretty short amount of time. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's optimal for us to try to cram that much into such a short period, because it really did kind of take over the operations for a little bit. But when you stand back and you look at the, the final product, and, if you're able to look at it all in like one screen and say, wow, we really did a lot. So really marrying the amount of creative, how well it all went very smoothly, multiple languages, multiple tactics, multiple campaigns. And that's the stuff that really gets me going. I love when we really get to spread our wings and show the team's capabilities across a lot of different disciplines.
Yeah, I know. And this one was really cool because I actually think we perhaps did every digital tactic you could possibly do. We didn't do podcast advertising, but we did streaming radio. So I think we did literally like every single, like retargeting, geofencing, email, everything, anything and everything, but we didn't do it all with the same message. So every campaign had its own audience, its own message, and its own tactics. And I think that's where the value of having an agency partner comes in, is that we know that for Spanish speaking adults who don't have a high school diploma, certain tactics are going to work better to reach that population than to reach high school students who we might want to encourage to take dual enrollment or to look at the Promise program.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And what I really like about working with Saddleback, and we have other clients that we do this for too, is that getting to work with students, potential students, current student, past students, all along their journey with the college, to really kind of keep them, make them aware of the college, and then provide the ease of getting to the website and to actually applying. And then marketing emails and text messages to students who maybe applied but didn't enroll, or who were in school and they stopped out, or they were in school last semester and they just haven't registered yet. There's value in getting those students to register earlier for the college so they understand their seat counts and things like that. So it really just, we've talked about this kind of array of tactics and then creative. And now we can talk about the array of kind of where they are in their student journey, and the ability to have touch points all along that way. I think is like one of the reasons why Saddleback is such a successful college, because they see the value of that, and they work on it, and then they let us work on really getting those messages out to students.
Yeah. One of the cool things about this campaign that I've really liked seeing come together is the largest funding source. Like, as you mentioned, all these different sub campaigns are being funded by grants, or most of them are. So they have like very specific requirements that need to be met. And one of the sub campaigns is for career education, which is being funded by Strong Workforce Dollars, or Perkins funds. I'm one of the two. I'm not sure which one. And so we really want to focus on certain programs that prepare students quickly for a great career. And so we found 3 students, interviewed them for videos. All 3 are just fantastic, amazing students. We used those students in the videos. We used them on the landing page. We used them in the digital ads, and even the streaming radio ads use their voices. So now you have this like really comprehensive, rich campaign that features actual people that are going to the college. And I just love how it turned out.
They were wonderful. I had emails back and forth with them as we were coordinating and afterwards thanking them. And they were all just so enthusiastic. And if anybody wants to take a look at it, it's saddlebackcareereducation.com. That's where the landing page is. You can see their bright faces and their messages. They just love the college. They love their program. And it was just really a pleasure to get to work with them.
Yeah, we did something fun this time where we interviewed each of the students separately, so they each have their own 30-second video, but then we wrote a script, and we had them each use a teleprompter to read the script. So the radio ad and the longer 1-minute ad is this montage of the students speaking, and it's just really powerful. It turned out great. That was a new approach for us, and
Hmm.
we were lucky to have a client that was like, let's try it, let's go for it and see what
Yeah.
happens.
And they had a blast. That's what was really fun about it, is that the students had a good time. We had a good time. We got to kind of stretch out creatively a little bit. And the end product just, it sounds amazing.
Right. Well, I know you're still building out ads right now as we speak.
Still going. Almost done. Last little remnants are going out.
So how many ads total do you think that we've done? Just, I know you can't count, but do you have a guesstimate?
Wow. So I'm going to say we did 6 videos and at least 72 ads, something like that, plus emails, designed, and landing pages. So it was a lot.
And in
It
two
was a lot.
languages.
And in 2 languages, so there's translations too. So it was, I really appreciate your ability to write proposals and get these deals. So it's really, it's a real testament to your abilities and your strategic thinking, and saying like, this is all the stuff we're going to need. But man, when you stack it all up on, a Google sheet and start trying to peck through it, it's like, wow, this is a lot. But, the team did great and we got through it. And, it all looks really, really great. They got a new concept and the new video concept. It's just, everybody's thrilled with the outcome.
And I think the most impressive part of it all is that, 2 landing pages, multiple languages, 72 ads, 6 videos, all of it done in 5 weeks, including the Thanksgiving holiday. So
Yep.
I have to have a big hats off to the college for being organized.
Yes.
And responsive, and then also to our team for being such hard workers and so talented.
And flexible. Yeah, Saddleback was great. They just even said, like, you were very clear, like, if we're gonna make this happen, like, we got to come to campus like the day after this contract gets signed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they allowed that to happen, and yeah, everybody, just really focused in, dialed in, and knocked it out of the park.
Great. So last question for you, for colleges who are looking to do a giant campaign themselves, or if they're working on an agency, like, how did you keep yourself organized? What tips can you give to keep something like this going, to keep it on time?
Well, I installed a coffee maker right here. So a lot of coffee. No, I really think, for me, I'm pretty visual. And so we have all of our project management software and all of that stuff. And I just have to put it all in a single page where I can look at it in one place, because I was going crazy, because we've got, everything has multiple statuses, like this is waiting for that, and that's waiting for this, and so on. And so I think just a simple list and a status of where things are along in the process. Like for us, we have to write, and then we have to design, and then we have to animate, or we have to write and then film and then edit and then, post to YouTube, etc. So every single one of the deliverables has its kind of own workflow. And so to stay organized, I just suggest putting it onto a Google Sheet. I put the whole digital campaign so I can keep an eye on what's live and what's still waiting to go live. Or, what is its status and what is it waiting for? And then all of the deliverables on the other side, like what is everything that we're contractually bound to deliver? And that at least let me sleep at night, instead of letting all those details rattle around in my head all night, because I'm worried that I'm going to forget something. So just keep it simple and, keep up to date, keep it visible, and just know that it's always there waiting for you. So rather than, stressing out, I think having something visual that keeps everything in one place is really helpful.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Great work. And
It's my pleasure.
I can't wait to see the results of all these campaigns. I'm really excited come February to see how everything did. So excellent work.
Me too. Thank you so
you so
much.
much.
Have a great day.